Welcome. I'm Carol, Skylark, your host, wanting to take you on a journey through the delightful multi-dimensions of everyday life. Our guest today is Dr. Victoria Gardner. We'll be journeying with her through her aura, her energy, her challenges, and into her life. I first met Dr. Vicky at a Fort Collins public access meeting. It was on this day that I decided to produce my show locally through Fort Collins PAN. Vicky called me a few days later and volunteered to be a guest. And she came to our next full moon concert where I did musical readings. I intuited the journey you will be seeing next through clairvoyant seeing and clairaudient hearing. And the first thing I saw for Vicky was a huge circus tent, and we were up at the top looking down, overseeing the goings-on below. Little did I know then that in real life, Vicky is overseeing an entire three-ring circus of spiritual community networking. She is this year's director for the Hour of Peace, which is the annual global gathering which meets in the wee hours of the morning on December 31st. This year, it meets at John the 23rd University Center on Shields University. She also spearheads Prayer Works for Peace with Reverend Russ Jones and Becky Myers, and with Reverend Phil Koster and Sevia King, she sustains the Interfaith Dialogue Group. So let the curtain rise on all these enlightening forms of peacemaking. Here's Vicky and our circus song. You seem kind of an Adani rhythm type woman. Adani is, to me, Adani rhythm goes out into the South Seas, and it's a little bit, it's every kind of culture to me.
Yes, very multidimensional.
Very multidimensional, yes.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. We are standing in a tent together, and the tent is light. We know the dimensions, and we know it's all right. Somehow I feel we're in a circus, a great, great big tent. And we're up there at the top. Oh, your soul will talk to me. Yeah, and I listen up. I've been challenged, you say, beyond my cup. I've been willing to be more and more. I'm willing now to walk through that door with the blessings of my soul and the mother of all, and with the blessings of all. I know I won't fall. Hey, Victoria, she's a queen, and she's humble like a stream. She's humble, like the grace, oh, that shines from her face. Do you have any sort of a question at all that comes to you?
Well, I would like to know more about my angels.
Okay. Yeah, what do you know already about your angels?
Not enough. I would like to know more about them.
Okay, that's a good question. I think I'm going to stand up for this one. Okay. Well, you have an angel that is part of you. And it sits in your chair and it blossoms around you and goes way on high. And this angel is your soul. And you can call your angel in. You can flow your angel down. You can listen every place you look within and see the angel energy come in. A little bit about your specific angel.
Yeah. Does she have a name?
Let's see. I'd say there is some D's in her name. Something like dulcimer or delicate or Darlene or divine. I feel that D sound around you. Okay, Darlena of the North Pole never is cold, 'cause Darlena knows light, and she warms up her toes in the light of the heavens and the light of the stars, and that light up in Alaska. That floods everyone even when it's dark for days and days. It's that light, Darlena, that I want you to find. A smile will connect you to that smile of all time. A smile in the darkness will turn on the light. And the smile of your soul will be with you all night.
It's interesting. I used to live in Alaska. I lived in Alaska for 8 years.
Oh, okay. That's why I went there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I love it there.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question about the circus. I'm presuming that's a past life. Can you tell me more about? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm presuming that's a past life because I have some memories around that. Can
Okay.
you give me more details
Yeah, I
about
could try because
being
I
in the
s-
circus?
I saw the circus. I saw we were way up high. I had a feeling of acrobats. I had a feeling that in some way you knew about taking risks.
Yep.
And I saw I saw almost like that we were gonna like do this acrobat act together. It was very fun.
Yeah. like to know. I have some other things around the circus.
Circus.
Yeah, so I'd like,
Oh, okay,
if you
yeah.
have more details on that.
We'll see. We'll see. It's all blank right now. We've got the question, so let's see. I think I'll sit for this one. Oops.
You said Darlena was the...
Darling, look, it just said the vibration was the D's and all those D's were there. I wouldn't take it too seriously, you know. It's just you.
Well, their names really can't be pronounced in
Yeah,
human language.
yeah,
So
right. But you see, each one of us has just an accessing ability to have our soul with us, okay? Sometimes that soul takes off and does other things beyond our body.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so that's why I can call the angel the soul. You know, your soul is your angel.
Okay.
You may have other angels too, but I always figure the first angel you should get to know is your own.
Good point. Yes. Know thyself.
Know thyself.
As Socrates says,
That's
know
right.
thyself.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's see about a
Yeah.
circus. Clown. I see clowns. I see Victoria as a clown. A clown that makes everybody stop frowning. She also seems to be the one who plays the drum for free to keep the energy going strong. She's not afraid to encounter each and everyone who comes around. She would just as soon go and say hello. There's a wisdom, a great director, facilitator, standing in the center of the circus circle. And she's friends with the lion tamer, she's friends with the lions. She's friends with the owner. And she knows what she's got to do. She's gotta keep on smiling. The clown is the heart of the circus. She's a part. She's got to keep it all together. She's the heart of the weather. And when it's windy and muddy and dark and not funny, she's the clown that brings in the money. She is the clown that is always funny. She takes care of everybody. It all disintegrates, dude. It all disintegrates into, it all disintegrates to, it all disintegrates to a traveling life, itinerant circus people. Breaking down the set in the morning. Sometimes breaking down the set at night. Everybody's tired and exhausted and hungry. But Victoria's not done for the night. No, Victoria's not done tonight. 'Cause it's the heart and the soul of the clown that sees into the future all around, that knows the next town, that knows all the people, won't let herself frown, because Victoria is the heart and the soul of the circus. Victoria is the clown.
And still doing it. One of the things I kind of have felt like that I was almost like the owner of the circus, and I would kind of do whatever needed to be done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see myself doing the clown thing a lot. Or at times being the ringmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Or sort of doing, if somebody was sick, or I would just do whatever needed to be filled.
Like hold your hands for un momento so we can just kind of combine our forces. Wonderful. So usually when I start a session, I do an energy warm-up, which means that I focus energy through both of your eyes.
Okay.
And I'm kind of walking back to get you to the center where both of your circuits, as we were talking about earlier, come to the center together. When we do that, it's right here with you. Yeah, you can feel that, huh?
Yeah,
and it gets very intense and it starts to build up. Let's do that again. This might help with your accident and your brain mechanisms.
That interhemispheric integration.
Yeah. That's it. Now just close your eyes. I'm going to stay with you. You stay with you. You go in the middle there. And just do any kind of loving, tender loving care, smiling, bringing the light there. You can. Rewiring. And I'll be with you there. It's all turning to light. And we're going to lift just a little bit higher and clear that area. And lift a little higher and make that a space of attention and friendliness, compassion to yourself.
Yeah, that's something I need to remember.
Yeah.
I have compassion for everyone else, everything else on the planet, but I forget to have compassion for myself.
Yeah, good, wonderful. Now lift your mind right through your head and above your head, in your aura above your head, and smile.
To the crown chakra?
Yeah, above your head. When we get to the high crown chakra, that's like about 3 feet, 2 feet above you. And we can go there now. That's it. And just enjoy and maybe call in help, light, as a way to fill that high crown chakra with the light of all of these presences and your own spiritual higher self too. That's great. And now maybe let your awareness hold the space and you decide whether you're going to be 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, wherever you want to like hold that space one last time. You find that space, that place you want to be.
I feel like it needs to be closer.
Okay, you give me an idea where you're going.
Like 1 foot.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it needs to be closer.
Okay, so at 1 foot, then that's where you want to just like call in the forces.
Okay, gang, it's time for a conference. That's what I call them, the gang.
Okay, so now I'm seeing the light. I did see that the light got very strong and bright there then, and it started to flood into your whole mind. So then we'll do the rest of the warm-up, and that is simply to smile your mind all the way up through the ceiling, through the sky, out beyond the atmosphere of the earth. And your body receives light when you do that. It's like by expanding upwards and outwards, you sort of become a funnel for spiritual light to come through. Like the entire sky heavens just floods down through your aura, all around and through your body, all around and all the way down, right through the floor, as deep into the earth as you can easily imagine. That's good. Okay, I see that second chakra is right now your really big, strong chakra, which is interesting in that even though you say, you're 60 years old and what would you want with this and that and the rest of it, your power is in the second chakra. Sacral chakra, the dantium, the place where you move from. You have very powerful energy there. And then the place where I saw you were in some struggle, healing, things like that, was neck, shoulders. That's where that showed up as kind of blue-red, like you have some clearing, struggling there.
Yeah.
Let me look again. But at your heart, you have just beautiful, open, light blue light. Right here. Light blue light that just expands up. And actually, that wipes away some of the pain that you actually were having in your neck and shoulders when your heart just opens and it clears the whole thing. Yeah, it's neat.
I experience that too when I get that literally pain in the neck and the shoulders, and some of that from 2 major car accidents. But when my heart's so filled with joy and love, and it does override it. It really does, as long as I keep my heart.
Yeah.
Keep my heart filled with joy. It does most of the time.
Isn't that amazing? Because there's so much power in the heart.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it just changes the whole world.
Yeah. So much power and love.
Wow, that's beautiful. What else I see? Around you, all around you, there's a very strong color like this, all around the outside of you, like around here. Which is interesting because you who want to save the world,
Yeah, which I do.
this is what the world is like for you. It's still harsher and scarier and more intense than maybe you need it to be, and maybe you really want it to be at this point. But I have a feeling that is why you are such a crusader for clearing the rest of the world, so you don't have to feel the awfulness of it all around you, the scariness and the hostility.
The fear and
the
the pain.
fear and the pain. That's what it is. You personally, I think, could expand your aura another 3 feet with the grace, the compassion, the love, and then that red would go away for those next 3 feet. Your own power to expand your will of grace would begin, and then if you really got going on it, you could just take it out to the whole world, and there wouldn't be any more pain and fear in your reality, and that would actually influence the world. So we're going to do that. We're going to just try one thing here, okay? And I want you to first be conscious of your own inner friendliness, because you have this lovely light. It's a light blue, sometimes a little bit yellow, okay? Your own inner friendliness. Now, if you find any little lines of resistance, smile right there and love right there.
I'm thinking about when I was a little kid. One of the first words I said was hi.
Hi.
Hi. And I was very friendly and just always saying, hi, people, hi.
Yay. Awesome.
And that friendliness to people and to myself, and receiving it back, too.
Yeah.
So innocent. Just a little 2-3-year-old child. Just loving everybody.
If you sense some sensors through your aura from the middle and move out a little more and out a little more and go way out there, way out, as far out as you can comfortably leave your middle part, right? And especially way out on the left. The little girl, be the friendly little girl, smile at the rest of the world out beyond you. Yeah, that's it. That's great. So the red has all gone. The color that I see is a light blue. Could you feel that you had more space? Could you feel a bit of the expansion?
I felt I was thinking about being that little girl and not having all the, the social junk. As you get older, it's like, well, don't talk to strangers and don't do this and that, and there's all this junk that gets in there about being a friendly person.
Mm-hmm. So you walked through your own resistance and fear with your original smile of friendliness, and all the red went away, and it was just beautiful. Welcome, Dr. Victoria.
Shalom, salam, peace.
Well, we've been having a lot of fun together, and I'm quite amazed at the manifestations that you're doing these days.
Well, I don't do it a lot. I mean, I don't do it myself. I do it a lot, yes, but I certainly don't do it myself. I always say it's God working through us and with us, and certainly without my higher power, I couldn't do squat.
I understand. I didn't sleep all the night before last and got to bed around 4 last night.
Mm-hmm.
And the commitment that you need when you're going to, and even for us today, that around 4 o'clock I was going to call you and say, Vicki, there's no humanly way possible that we can do this. And
that's the key.
I know it.
Humanly way.
I know it's true.
As long as people try to do things in the flesh, as it's called, or in strictly the physical realm, no, it can't be done. But when you have, whether you want to call it anointing or spiritual help or angels, however you want to label that.
Right. When you have that extra energy, because you're committed and because you have helpers.
There's definitely divine help.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm told I have 5 angels. So everybody has 2. But I guess I have 5 because I probably need lots of extra help. But I'm very blessed. And I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to do the work that I'm doing with the Hour for Peace and Prayer Works for Peace and TOAS and then, of course, the Multi-Faith Coalition. And I'm going to be plugging all of these things, because I'm very passionate about this work. And kind of sounds like a Miss America thing. Oh, I work for world peace. But it's true. I mean, I really do work for not only world peace, but also peace within people. Because peace in the world starts with peace in our own hearts. If you don't have peace in you, and I don't have peace in me, we're not going to have peace in the world. And so a lot of it comes from helping people to have peace within themselves and empowering people to have the education and the tools and the knowledge to be able to have that peace and that satisfaction within, no matter what their circumstances might be.
Mm-hmm. So I know what I do for peace. I do ground work, meaning I go out on my front yard and I get on my knees and I put my forehead to the earth and I put my fingers in the ground and I don't get up until I'm okay.
Really?
Yeah, until I really feel good. And it doesn't matter, if I don't have the perfect grass. Even if it's dirt.
Really cold outside.
Even if it's cold, it doesn't matter.
Snow and ice, you still do that.
I do. Somehow or another, when I need it.
Yeah.
I did it right before I started to set the cameras up tonight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have to do my prayer and meditation. I'm really blessed in some ways. People might think this sounds kind of crazy, but I was actually hit by an 18-wheel semi several years ago and suffered some very severe injuries. And at the time I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and now I realize, there's always a gift, there's always a blessing in everything. Because one of the blessings I have is that every day I have to do at least an hour of yoga and stretching, and I do some Pilates and things my physical therapists have given me. But I have to do this yoga and the stretching, or I just, I can't even walk around. I'm not functional. But when I do that, I also do my prayer and meditation. And I think, well, if I was a healthy person, I'd probably just, get up, grab a cup of coffee, running out the door, and my angels would be going, well, let's see how fast she can go today, and, do this fast quantity thing, but not necessarily have the quality. And so having the injuries that I have forces me to every day, I do this yoga and stretching, and I do my prayer and my meditation, and that's how I sort of really get connected with spirit. And if I don't, if I don't do that, it's not only that physically I don't function, but spiritually I won't function either.
Yeah.
It's like plugging in. It's like a lamp that is unplugged. Don't work. This is my way of really plugging in to God, to my higher power, spirit, source, or however you want to label that.
I too have a plug-in exercise, and mine is to turn on some music and to dance with fingertips touching until my hands become so light that they go on their own. And then I'm no longer doing the dancing. And then spirit starts to dance me. And then
spirit is dancing in you.
That's right. And then I do the same thing with sound until, a little bit of sound starts, and little by little I'm surrendered and the sound is coming through me. And then the channeling happens, and the songs come and the meanings come.
I do my yoga and my stretching and my prayer meditation. I do that to music. I have several different CDs that are kind of meditation CDs that work well. And I always do it to music. And then usually later on in the day, I'm energized by music. And that's one of the other things I do is, one of my angels just opened the door.
Yeah, this door does that.
That was interesting.
This is Elijah's door.
Hi, welcome. Come on in. Join us. Doing that kind of music, and that really does help me to get focused and centered. And if I didn't do that, I would be a mess. I can remember reading about Mother Teresa and Gandhi. Both said they spent 2 hours, oftentimes every day, in meditation and prayer, and that's what they had to do to fill themselves, to keep themselves spiritually grounded and.
Wow, I didn't know that Mother Teresa did that.
Yeah,
I'm glad to know that.
I think it was 2 hours every day she spent in prayer and
probably
meditation. And Gandhi said he would spend 2 hours, and if he had a day where he had like a lot of meetings, particularly grueling day, he would spend 4 hours in prayer and meditation, preparing.
Yes, because you have to be the channel. Because you can't make any mistakes. It has to be, fulfilled.
It's opening up and allowing God to work through us, and we become the instruments. One of the songs that we're doing at the Hour for Peace, and it's always been one of my favorite songs, it's the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. And, of course, it's make me an instrument of your peace. And that's what I always ask, is to be an instrument of God's peace. And I'd like to comment a minute on the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. One of the reasons we chose it for the Hour for Peace is because we're trying to get a very multi-dimensional, many different faiths, many different viewpoints in the Hour for Peace. And St. Francis of Assisi, of course, was a Catholic priest, but he was, he's oftentimes known as the patron saint of animals because he respected all life. And he did a lot for animal rights and children's rights, because if you think back in the 500-600 years ago, children had no rights, women had no rights, animals had no rights, and he did a lot for animal rights. Again,
what did he do? I mean, how did he do that in his time?
I'm not sure about all the details, but I think he did a lot of prayer and meditation, and I suppose he did maybe sort of what I'm doing now, just going out and meeting with people and writing things and talking. I'm not sure exactly how he did it, but he had such a respect for all life forms. The other thing that St. Francis of Assisi did, he spent quite a bit of his time praying and studying with Muslims. And he was one of the few priests at the time. This was during the time of the Crusades. And St. Francis was one of the few Catholic priests who was against the Crusades.
Uh-huh.
And because he prayed and studied with Muslims and understood the Muslim faith.
Mhm.
So even though St. Francis of Assisi is technically a Catholic priest, he's honored by the Muslims, and he's a really good bridge between the Christian faith and the Muslim faith. And at the Hour for Peace, of course, we're bringing in all these different faiths. We're going to have representatives from the Muslim community, the Jewish community, obviously from the Catholic and the Protestant communities, from Buddhism and Sufism. There'll be people from the American Indian. Excuse me, here it's Native American. I'm sorry, I came from the West Coast where they were called American Indians, and I have to remember here they're Native Americans. Anyway, the Native American community. So we have all these different faiths that are coming together for the purpose of world peace and living together peacefully and harmoniously. So that's one of the reasons we chose the song, the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, make me an instrument of your peace. And we can be that when we, of course, become peaceful inside ourselves, and when we honor that the peace and the divine in other people. That we can, we can, even though I am a Christian, I can honor the divine in a Muslim or a Jew or a Sufi or Buddhist or Baha'i or any other faith. I can honor that.
And when we sit together in peace and stillness and openness and let spirit bathe us together, there are no separations amongst people.
Exactly. There really is. The separations that humanity has come up with are so artificial. That's not the way God created us. We're all the children of Adam and Eve. We all have the same when you just look at DNA, every human being has the same basic DNA, and it's like the part that makes us different is, I don't remember the exact, it's like 0.0002 or something like that, but the idea is that most of us is the same, DNA-wise, and the difference is so tiny. And we're all children of Adam and Eve, and one of the groups that I'm involved with right now that I feel really good about is called TOAS, which stands for Tent of Abraham, Hagar, and Sarah. And it's the three Abrahamic faiths coming together, because we're all children of Abraham.
Give me the sort of historical way that works. Who came first and who came second? So people can understand.
Which came first, the chicken and the egg?
Yeah, I know Abraham came first.
Well, Abraham was the father of the Jewish nation, the Muslims, and the Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And Abraham had his wife Sarah, but he also had she was technically Sarah's maid, but Sarah initially was unable to have children. And so she came up with this really bright idea, and she says, why don't you take my maid, Hagar, and take her, and she will become the mother of your child.
Mm-hmm.
So Hagar had Ishmael, who was actually the eldest son, and then later Sarah became pregnant with Isaac. So Abraham had two sons by two different women.
Mm-hmm.
But and forgive me, I'm not, I need to have my notes to do these things historically accurate, but basically the children of Hagar became Muslims, and the descendants of Isaac became the Jews, which then Christianity is an offspring of Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that Christians and Jews and Muslims are all children of Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
And of course God had a covenant with Abraham that all of his descendants would be blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it just breaks my heart, and it must break God's heart, when Jews and Christians and Muslims are fighting each other and killing each other. Because we're all related. It's like killing your cousin, killing your aunt or your uncle. How stupid. We're all related, and we're all children of Abraham, and we are all blessed by that covenant. And it says that in the Old Testament, that God had a covenant with Abraham. And I don't know anywhere in the Bible that it says God changed his mind. It says, decided I'm not going to have this covenant with you anymore. So part of TOAS, the group, and TOAS stands for Tent of Abraham, Hagar, and Sarah, is that the Christians and Jews and Muslims come together to learn about each other, and of course, we share meals and we laugh and tell jokes, and the idea is that we really rekindle that brother and sisterhood that has been for 5,000-6,000 years, depending on So it's really cool. We had a thing at Plymouth Congregational Church yesterday. Actually, I should back up. What we did in October, the Jewish community hosted kind of an educational forum at Har Shalom. And, of course, there were Christians and Muslims there, and it's open to anyone who wants to come. But what the Jewish community did was to present some of the prayers and the symbols of the Jewish faith to help us all to understand, what they believe and why they believe it, and how some of their different symbols work. It's kind of an educational thing. And then, of course, they had lots of food afterwards, which was great. One thing about the Jewish people, they really know how to cook. Their food is great. And then yesterday at Plymouth Congregational Church, the Christians hosted it. There were 4 of us that actually organized it, and we had an educational forum for the Muslim and Jewish community to help them to understand the Christian faith and what we believe and some of our symbols and why we believe it. And then in December, the Muslims will be having a similar event for the Jewish and Christian people to learn about the Muslim faith. So it's really neat. It's a way to foster understanding and communication and respect. And the thing that's so amazing, again, is we really aren't that different. It's just like the DNA. It's like 99.999% is pretty similar, and then you get, there's that little bit that's different. And actually the difference is good, because how boring life would be if we were all alike.
I have a question. Because to me, the mystical core of each religion is what really interests me.
Exactly.
How'd you get to the point of being inundated by spirit, by God, by the angels, by love, by grace?
Exactly.
I'm curious, in your studies of the Muslim, the Jewish, and the Christian, what is the mystical core that each one goes for?
And that's where you look at with the Muslim. And again, I'm not a Muslim, so I don't, profess to know a whole lot about it. But my understanding is with the Muslim faith, there is a mystical aspect which is called Sufism. The Sufis are actually the mystical aspect of Islam. And then with Judaism, the Kabbalah is the mystical aspect of Judaism. Everybody knows about the Kabbalah now because Madonna is studying the Kabbalah, so she has...
Well, good for her. She's an
God
awesome...
bless Madonna. She's helping people learn about the Kabbalah. Hey, the Lord works in all kinds of wonderful ways.
Well, she's one of my heroes.
Oh yeah,
she manifests,
she's
right?
done some amazing things. Madonna actually did some amazing things to point out a lot of the hypocrisy of the Christian church, especially the Catholic Church. The idea that French kissing is a sin that you'll go to hell for.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of the things she said in an interview was that it dawned on her one day, and she asked, well, if you commit murder, you go to hell. Well, yeah, go to hell for committing murder. She says, what about French kissing? And yes, you go to hell for that. And she said, no, that doesn't even make sense, I mean, murder, French kissing, these are not in the same category. And it dawned on her that there were so many of these rules that again, see, that's person-made. When you talk about the mysticism, the spirit, that's the God stuff. And then all these rules and regulations that people get into, that's person stuff. It really is. And that's, I think, a lot of what we're trying to do with these functions and with TOAS and the multi-faith gathering is to sort out the man-made stuff, the rules and the regulations and all this stuff, and really get down to the spiritual essence. And when you look at that spiritual essence of every religion, that's what religion is about, is trying to connect with God. But then people get in and they start putting all these fleshly things, all these rules and regulations and all this stuff that has nothing to do with spirituality.
Maybe it is about time that each one of these religions goes to their core and finds something they can do at church, they can do when they gather, to actually heal each person in the audience. With some kind of maybe movement or sound or song, or prayer does it, but we need to have people open their channels for the prayer. Because you can, if you pray and you're all tied up in knots, you won't get it.
Exactly.
So we have to open the whole system, and then the prayer works.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. That's why at the Hour for Peace, I think one of the things we're trying to do, we're bringing in people from all different faiths and all different backgrounds, but we're trying to get at that essence of spirituality that is peace. It's not just leading to peace, but it is peace.
Yeah.
And one of the things we'll be having are the dances of universal peace. And it's the movement. In fact, they're doing, I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do now, but in the past, the dances of universal peace, I should clarify, they've been at the Hour for Peace like many, many years. And they were at the autumn multi-faith gathering. And they had things that the audience could participate in. So it wasn't just them dancing and the rest of us watching. They had movements. They were simple things that the audience could participate in. And all these movements are, again, ways of opening ourselves up to spirituality and opening ourselves up to the love and the peace and the wisdom that is God, that is our essence, and to get away from the superficial.
It would be nice in the layout of the circularity if, in terms of the group dancing, there could be a few circles inside the circle and maybe a few circles outside the circle of chairs so that people could dance, really dance together.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, Grace Marie is the leader of the Universal Dances of Peace, or excuse me, Dances of Universal Peace. So, and I'm not sure quite what they have in mind, but that's something we could
talk to her about.
Yeah, talk to them about. And I think she was going to go to the place, to John 23rd University Center, and kind of, I know some of what they do depends on the physical facility that they're dealing with, because, we've got a room with, there could be easily 500 people there. And so if the weather's nasty, there might only be 200, depending on how snowy and icy it is on December 31st. But most years there have been 400 or 500 people.
Yeah, I think it'll be a full house.
One year there was 600 people. You said you've
been,
recorded the Hour for Peace. How many times? You said?
Twice.
Twice? Which years?
I've gone more than that, but I've recorded it twice. I can't remember dates.
Yeah.
But, I can't even remember the themes.
Yeah, but you've got
I basically remember the people who were the organizers, but I can't even remember their names at this point. If you threw out a few of the names of the organizers.
Well, Cheryl Beckett has been a key person in the Hour for Peace at Fort Collins since, it began in 1986 in Fort Collins. The Hour for Peace internationally began in 1984.
I probably went to the first one, is what I think. The first one.
Yeah, because Shellyana was one of the organizers of the first one. And this year, Shellyana kind of gave us, how you have this idea, and we came up with a theme, 21st Century Peace Paths, and all these different peace paths, but there was still an essence that was missing, and Shellyana came up with that. And she and I were we went out to, I can't remember, it was one of the lakes, beautiful day. And we were just sitting at this picnic bench by the lake, just talking. And I was talking about the Hour for Peace and, kind of what we were doing and what ideas she had. And she says, she's a student of Abraham Hicks. And a lot of people know the Abraham Hicks teachings. And anyway, she says, remember, Abraham teaches that there has been no at this point in time, there is so much desire for peace. At the same time, never in history has there been more resistance to peace. And before we can create peace, we have to first of all break down the resistance or lower the resistance to peace. And that was the key that we needed, because there is resistance. One of the things that Reverend Phil Koster, the chaplain at the hospital, and he's part of the planning committee for the Hour for Peace, and he's involved in TOAS, and he's involved in the multi-faith gathering, and I think he's involved in a lot of the things I'm involved in. But he had said at our first planning meeting that a lot of people come to the Hour for Peace very burdened and very heavy-hearted because they see all the war and the violence in the world, and it breaks their hearts that these things are happening, and they want so much to heal the world and to bring peace to the world, and they don't quite know what to do, and so they come there very heavy-hearted. Well, that feeling in itself is resistance. by focusing on the negative, we're creating resistance. So the thing that, with what Phil had said at our first meeting, and then when Shelleyana brought in what Abraham taught, and Shelleyana says, well, you need to have a resistance lowering exercise. And I talked with you, and you had an idea for how to do that. So it's kind of come together that the first part of the Hour for Peace will be this resistance lowering, or in a more positive way, we're trying to raise consciousness. So we want to lower that resistance, because we know that what we resist persists. And the more people are afraid of something happening, the more it's going to happen. And
and the power of consciousness together with an intention is so strong. And I like the intention of just tuning in to the heavens together, where all of our minds rise up on high together. And we feel the togetherness, and then the light gets stronger, and the blessings get stronger. And then to just let the idea of letting the body surrender part by part, letting the light filter in and filter down. And because the intention is so strong, and many of us have worked on these levels, we can be able seeing the entire group and lighting everybody who needs to be lit together.
Well, I was so pleased when you offered to do this bringing in the light part of the beginning of the Hour for Peace, because you can't give out what you don't have. And people talk about, well, I want to work for peace, I want to give out peace, but if you don't have any inside yourself, you can't do that. So, what you're doing with your exercise and with what Shelleyana will be doing is we're bringing in,
filling the cup.
Yes, filling the cup. Oh, that's a great way of saying it. Is we're bringing in this peace and this light, and getting rid of this heavy burden, and there's a lot of guilt. I think people feel guilty that there's all this war and violence in the world, and in some ways we probably need to, because we are all responsible, but we can't take on too much of that burden either, because that just becomes very destructive. So the idea of bringing in this peace and this love and this empowerment, and then we go into the meditation where we're able to send out the peace and the love and the light to the rest of the world, and knowing that our consciousness really does create reality. I mean, that's a fact that can be measured in quantum physics. And we're going to have, we have this great group called SPRI, Society for PSI Research and Education. And PSI is anything to do with the psyche, psychology, psychic things, psychiatry, anything to do with the psyche or consciousness. And they do a lot of scientific studies on how our thought manifests, and how when we are, thinking or focusing on something, that it actually does happen. And so they're going to present kind of scientific studies behind that, and I think that's really cool. So we have some science in there too, as well as a lot of different faith groups, and I'm really excited about that.
Well, let's see. Another group that you are involved with is the Prayer Works for Peace.
Prayer Works for Peace, yes. Well, where would we be without Prayer Works for Peace? Prayer Works for Peace came about after last year's Hour for Peace. And Reverend Russ Jones, a good friend of mine, we met actually at Unity of the Light Church. I was living in Loveland. When I first moved here from Alaska, I lived in Loveland, and Russ and I were both on the board at Unity of the Light. And then I moved to Fort Collins and started becoming more involved with churches in Fort Collins, just partly because of geographics and gas prices. But anyway, Russ and I were both on the planning committee of the Hour for Peace last year. And after it was over, it was about 2 or 3 weeks after it was over, and Russ called me. He says, well, the Hour for Peace was great, but getting together for 1 hour once a year to pray for peace is not enough. We need to do this every week. And he already had, his ministry is called Prayer Works. And he and his wife do spiritual counseling, and he is a minister. And so they were called Prayer Works. He says, well, let's have Prayer Works for Peace. He says, I'd like to do that, and would you help me with it? I said, I think that sounds like a great idea. So we started, it was the end of February last year. The first meeting we were kind of amazed. We didn't really do much publicity. We just kind of started from nowhere. And first meeting, 9 people showed up, which is, because I thought, oh, nobody's going to come. First meeting, 9 people came, including Joe and Holly Stern. I don't know if you know Joe Stern. Mm-hmm. He's kind of the godfather of the peace movement in Fort Collins. He's been working for peace since the 60s, and he's still doing it. And so Joe and Holly were there, and so we started the end of February, and we meet every week. So it's Russ and myself, and then this summer, Becky, I can't think of Becky's last name, Becky Myers. I just blanked out there for a second. Becky Myers joined us. She's from Unity of the Light, also in Loveland. She drives from Loveland up to Fort Collins. And so the 3 of us are kind of the core, and then Joe and Holly were coming very regularly until Joe had his surgery, and he hasn't been there the last couple of months because he had surgery, and hopefully they'll be coming back soon after he recuperates. But we meet every week, and we do have it's an interfaith service, so we have prayers from all different faiths. I mean, we'll do Christian prayers, Jewish prayers, Jainism, excuse me. That's Jain, not Jane. Jainism prayers. We'll do religious science prayers, unity, prayers of peace from many, many different faiths. And we do have some discussion. We talk about what's going on in the world, but we don't focus on the negative. Like Sunday night when we met, we had a request to pray for the situation in Darfur. So we did that, but we don't focus on the negative. We focus on healing of that area. We've had a lot of requests to pray for Iraq and Afghanistan and North Korea right after the atomic bomb went off. Well, they don't know if it was a bomb or a test, whatever, but right after the nuclear incident in North Korea, we were asked to pray for that area. And so every week we do have some discussion about what's going on in the world, and then we pray to heal those situations. The interesting thing, when we first started the end of February, at that time there was all that violence over the Danish cartoons. Mm-hmm. So we spent our first 2-3 meetings really praying to heal that situation. Within 3 weeks, the violence had dissipated. Mm-hmm. And then the amazing thing, was this in May or June, when the Pope made the derogatory comments about Islam. Right. And, of course, a lot of people thought, oh, boy, here, all hell is going to break loose. And we prayed to heal that, and it was pretty amazing because there was not a lot of violence around that. And there could have been a lot of violence erupted around that. Mm-hmm. And so we really prayed to heal that. And that's part of what we do is prayer works for peace. We pray for world peace and peace within people, and also to heal conditions leading to violence.
And maybe our audience would like to know where that meets and when, so that they might want to join.
Well, of course. We always want people to join. Prayer Works for Peace, right now we're meeting at 6 o'clock, from 6 to 7:15, at Plymouth Congregational Church, which is just east of the corner of Shields and Prospect. Just east of the corner of Shields and Prospect. It's a huge church on the north side of the road, and we meet in the East Room. This summer we met at 7, but for winter we're meeting at 6, and also we're having the Hour for Peace planning meetings right after that, partly because we have some folks that drive up from Loveland, and it's easier for them to drive once a week than twice a week. Probably in the spring we'll meet later, but for the winter we're meeting at 6.
Okay. So now here's 2 topics I'd like us to talk about.
Okay.
I forgot one already.
As I'm yakking about.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing great. I want you to talk a little bit about your experience when we did the circus thing and the Alaska thing, and anything about that was fun for you, or how it worked for you.
The thing I found so interesting about that whole circus thing was, again, I've done a little bit of past life work. I haven't done a lot. But the interesting thing that came up about the circus and about me being sort of the ringmaster of this 3-ring circus, And also of kind of filling in and doing whatever needed to be done. It was like at times I was the clown, and at times I was the trapeze artist, and at times I was, maybe doing the music or cleaning up elephant do or whatever. And I could see myself do, because I'm still kind of doing that. I'm still kind of the ringmaster of, here's the Hour for Peace and Prayer Works for Peace and TOAS and the Multi-Faith Gathering, and I'm on the board of the Fort Collins Public Access Network. And so I'm kind of doing all of these things, and at the same time filling in if someone is sick or somebody can't do something, and I just step in and kind of do what needs to be done. So it was very enlightening, because I could see, even though we're in a different body and a different life, there's this essence of our soul that stays the same life after. The spirit is eternal.
It's amazing,
The
isn't it?
spirit is eternal, and that essence of what is us lives forever. And whether you believe that essence goes to heaven and hangs out in heaven with God for all eternity, that's great. I want to come back again and again. I like this life. But the idea that our essence is eternal, it never dies, and it continues to just keep doing what it does.
And there's something interesting there in that, let's say we have become very talented in a past life. And we've also been enlightened, and we've taken the bodhisattva vow, which is to come back and help everybody else get there.
Yes.
Then it's really likely that we will do again what we have done before.
And each time, hopefully, we get better at it.
And get better at it.
Well,
My story is pretty interesting, because when I was going through cancer, I did a deep meditation to try
cancer?
to... Yeah,
I did not know
three
that.
times.
Oh my goodness, what kind of cancer?
Breast cancer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And you beat it.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. But this one time was extremely interesting, because I was meditating, trying to find my inner child essence, to find out, why did you go and get cancer? What was wrong? And every time I got deep into a center, I didn't find the inner child. I didn't find an inner child at all. I found a full theatrical performance from one culture or another in every chakra. I was in Thailand, and I saw the dancers. I was in India. I was, the Rockettes even showed up, on stage.
I could see
somewhere.
Yeah,
And it was always like this dance of the dark and the light together. And I have no idea where that came from. But in every chakra that was there. And then since then, I've so come into television and wanting to show everything.
And share that, yeah.
Share the enlightenment process with everybody. So it gives me a little bit of support, knowing that these little parts of my body had these memories of doing it before.
Oh yeah, and we do. The soul has memory.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I find interesting is, I've worked a lot with child prodigies, with gifted children.
Oh.
How do you explain a 3-year-old that can sit down and play a Beethoven sonata or a Mozart, or I should say, but Beethoven symphony and Mozart sonata? That just is that there's something in that being that remembers that from before. And hypothetically, the person, played the piano and maybe took piano lessons, in one life, and then the next life they remember that. They remember those piano lessons.
Yeah.
Same way with artists. Some of that's in our DNA, but there's some of it that is the soul memory. And how else do you explain genius? That it's got to be many, many lifetimes of learning and learning and learning and learning, and we remember those things. And I sometimes think maybe, this is just an idea that's popped into my head, but what if, heaven is remembering all the good things that you did and carrying those good things on to the next life, and that hell would be forgetting all the good things you did and having to remember all the bad stuff? So in the next life, all you remember is the really bad stuff, the pain and the fear and the anger and the rage, and forgetting all of the good things. Just a thought, just something I think about these things.
Well, one thought that your thought generated in my thinking was that people need to realize that they really only have to be kind to themselves and heal their own little parts in their own little bodies that are in pain or in constriction, and that the most wonderful thing they could do for everyone would be not to beat themselves up.
Oh, yeah.
So that then their light body can
Exactly.
start to enter in,
Exactly.
their soul can enter their body.
Exactly.
And then it's a no-brainer. Once all that's happening, they're at peace and they're guided,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and they know what to do, and
Mm.
it all happens.
Mhm.
But
Oh, yeah.
people don't realize they hurry and hustle and don't get enough sleep and they work too hard.
Busy holism.
And they don't have a practice.
Mhm.
A practice for coming
Getting
back,
back to that
center.
spiritual practice of filling yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus Christ, one of the greatest teachers of all time, the teacher of teachers, and he always said, love your neighbor as yourself. He didn't say nowhere does he say love other people and, think that you're just a pile of dog do.
Yeah.
And yet, people in our culture are taught that it's wrong to love yourself. And half of the problems in this culture are because people do not love themselves.
And they
or
don't-
they love themselves too much and not other people. But as means equal. Love yourself and love other people. And you can't really love other people or have a relationship with other people if you hate yourself.
Well, we're talking about a persona, and then we're talking about a higher self.
Yes.
Because it's the higher self that has to love the persona. It's like
that's a
the
good
mommy
point, yeah.
that has to reparent the child.
That's true.
And we have to
yeah.
separate our consciousness from the ego consciousness in order to look down upon ourselves or embrace ourselves
Yeah.
or, watch the sillinesses that we do
Yeah.
and guide ourselves a little
Yeah.
bit. No, maybe not that way, But many people don't realize that it's a matter of developing a higher consciousness so that consciousness can love the lower consciousness, and the lower consciousness can remember to say, hi, come play with me,
Yeah.
be my guide, my own soul, my own self. Let us embrace.
Yeah. Well, and also for the lower consciousness to I guess give in to the. Joyce Meyer
Yes.
says it so well. She says we have our flesh, and our flesh has its opinions. But she says I don't let my flesh vote. My flesh has a screaming fit about this, that. I want to do this. I don't.
Yeah.
But the part of me that makes the decision about what to do is my higher self, my Christ self. However you want to label that. Because there's a lot of things that I don't want to do that. I'd rather sit on the couch and eat donuts all day. I don't want to do that. My flesh would love to just lay on the couch and watch movies and eat donuts but my spirit says, no, I want to go out and work for peace and I want to do these things. And so I think it's training our lower self to let the higher self make the decisions. Because it's just like your 2-year-old child. You love your 2-year-old child, but you don't let them vote. You don't let them decide when they're going to go to bed or what they're going to eat.
Well, I did with my
your
child.
2-year-old?
Well, sort of. As much as one can, yeah. Yeah, but I'm a unique parent.
Yeah. But there's
'Cause
still boundaries.
I
that-
trusted my child to kind of let me know what he
Is
needed.
that right? But you still wouldn't let him go out and play in the street.
No,
and-
but when we would go for walks, he was the one who was cautious.
Is that right?
He
Even as a little
he would
kid?
stop me from crossing the street.
Is that
I never
right?
had to worry about him.
Huh, that's a pretty
Yeah.
amazing kid.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a child prodigy on your
Oh
hands.
yeah, I've got a
Yeah.
major indigo.
Oh, he is an indigo child?
I
oh,
think.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like a peaceful warrior. He won't
Wow.
let anybody mess with him, but he is so kind to everybody.
That's amazing. How old is he now?
20.
Oh, he's 20. So he's...
Do you know what he
Good.
did? He called me this morning.
Yeah.
He said, Mom, what I want for my birthday is for you to pull together 2 or 3 books that are your highest spiritual teachings that have inspired you, and I want you to give me those books.
Oh,
Because I think I've gotten to the point where being a ski bum in
amazing.
Vail is just getting a little bit not important.
yeah. It was fun for a while, and now I've outgrown it. Yeah, that's wonderful.
That is amazing.
It's an amazing kid. Yeah. Wow. You said something earlier I wanted to come back to about, I don't remember the label you put on it. It's when we we reincarnate and we come back then to help others.
Yeah, bodhisattva.
Right, right.
That's a Tibetan term,
Right,
Buddhist.
yeah, I'd heard that. One of my favorite books, and you were talking about books, so it just reminded me of it too. One of my very favorite books is Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that so powerful because Jonathan, learned how to fly in the one life, and then his next life he learned how to fly better, and he goes through all these lifetimes to achieve perfection of flight. And he finally achieves perfection. And it's like, oh, this is great. I've achieved perfection in flight. And then, okay, now what? And then his mentor says, well, now that you've achieved perfection, you go back and you teach the other seagulls perfection of flight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so powerful for me that, that yes, we work, some of us lifetime after lifetime to learn, but then there's a point where maybe we do achieve perfection. I don't know if I sure haven't achieved that, but there's a point where whatever we've learned, we want to then teach other people.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the problems I have with some of the real fundamentalist Christians that believe in this rapture, and that some people, Jesus will come and some people will go on to heaven and the rest of the people, too bad. And I'm going, I couldn't do that. I could not, in clear conscience. If Jesus came right now and said, well, you can go to heaven, but you've got to leave behind, your family, your friends, your nieces and nephews, your daughter, your grandchildren. I couldn't do that. I would want to bring them with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't feel, I couldn't enjoy myself in heaven knowing that someone that I cared about was still on this earth struggling, or that somebody I cared about was in hell.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, you're a
I
bodhisattva.
could not do that.
That's
I
for
couldn't.
sure.
I could not possibly be happy in heaven knowing that there were other people that were still suffering. I would have to come back and do what I could to help them. So, and you're
I'm
probably the same
having
way.
I'm having a vision of a book. I illustrated the cover for this book. It was a Tibetan lady guru or lama who, when she was 16, disappeared for 4 days in her room with White Tara, her guide, and she went to visit all the realms of the Buddhas.
Okay.
She didn't eat or drink. She just
Right.
went off, And when she came back, she wrote about it. And one of the things she saw was that the great lamas would go down into hell.
Yeah.
And they would gather up the suffering people.
Of course.
And they would bring them back.
Of course. Yeah.
They would heal them.
Exactly. So going back to what Madonna even talked about, and it's not just the Catholic Church. I was born and baptized and confirmed in the Lutheran Church, which is almost as much guilt as the Catholic Church. But there was this thing about that, people went to hell, and for doing some of the most trivial things. It wasn't even, serial killers or Hitler. It was just, I can remember when I was a kid, just, accidentally doing, things that kids just do. And, oh, you're going to go to hell for that. You're going to go to hell for that. And that never made sense to me. And the idea that even if somebody did go to hell, how long would they stay there before some compassionate person would go get them? I just think that would happen.
I'm still in this little nectar nest of our conversation about if Christ would come and offer you enlightenment and to take you away, but you would want to stay and make sure that everybody else could get there. There's another way I see this, and that is people themselves have to become the vase for the Holy One.
Yeah.
And if, let's say, enlightenment came your way, right, and you were a beautiful open vase, right,
Yes.
and there were a few people that you were attached to
Exactly.
that could not yet become that vase, you would have to accept your enlightenment, and just the overflow of your joy and your wisdom and your teaching would affect and influence them.
Yeah.
But
and I think it does.
but you have to at least go for broke, I think.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I'll take all the enlightenment and all the truth and wisdom and joy and peace that I can get, certainly.
Yeah.
But I guess my point was kind of the idea that some Christians have the idea that there are only a few people that get saved.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
And I think, when Jesus said, when the kingdom of heaven comes to earth, once that kingdom of heaven comes to earth, I think everybody will benefit.
Well, I think the kingdom of heaven, it has come to earth. It is here.
Yeah.
It honestly is here.
It
It's
is,
in every
as much as we
particle of
embrace
life.
it.
And it's how much we can
Exactly.
open it and be it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the air, the air is here. We just have to
Yeah,
breathe
remember
it
to
in.
breathe.
And when you have clean air, everyone gets it.
Yeah.
It says in Scripture that the rain falls on the just and the unjust.
Yeah, right.
And when we create joy and love and beauty and peace in the world, everyone benefits. Well, Carol, thank you so much for allowing me to be on your show. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful time. And I want to take this opportunity to invite everyone to the December 31st Hour for Peace. And we will be meeting at 4:30 a.m. Yes, that's 4:30 a.m., very early in the morning, at Blessed John 23rd University Parish. This is just such a beautiful, beautiful place. And it's just off Shields, 1 block south of Elizabeth. And we will all be meeting together with people all over the world. People all over the world will be meeting at noon Greenwich Mean Time, from noon to 1, and that happens to be 5 a.m. Fort Collins time. That's why it's so early. But millions and millions of minds all over the world will be thinking about peace, focusing on peace, singing and praying and meditating about peace, and really focusing on peace for the new year. This is actually the 21st year that the event's been held in Fort Collins. The first one was held in 1986. And our theme this year is 21st Century Peace Paths. And we have, of course, many, many different peace paths in our community. Not only many different faith communities, but organizations like the United Nations Association, Prayer Works for Peace, of course, the Loveland Peacemakers, representatives from Food Not Bombs, the Dances of Universal Peace, many, many different community organizations. I want to point out, this is the logo that we're using. This is actually the logo from the Multi-Faith Coalition, which is a group of obviously many, many different faiths coming together to work for world peace. And our logo, to show some of the different peace paths, if we start at, say, 11 o'clock, with, this is the symbol is the temple, and that is the symbol of Shintoism. And then, of course, you recognize the Tao of Taoism. And then there's the Om symbol, of the Vedic symbol. Then there's the sacred pipe, which is Native American. There's the Dharma wheel, which is Buddhist. And then, of course, the Star of David of Judaism. Then there is the moon goddess, which is kind of a neo-pagan symbol. Then, of course, the cross of Christ, Christian. The nine-pointed star is the Baha'i. And then religious science has their symbol of spirit manifesting into form. Then there's the winged heart of Sufism, and then finally Allah of Islam. And of course, these are just some of the peace paths that will be represented and participating in the Hour for Peace. We have many others. We couldn't include all of the symbols, or the logo would have been huge, but we tried to get a good sampling of many different viewpoints, many different religions, different organizations, but all of these different religions, different organizations, different viewpoints are coming together with one purpose in mind, and that's to have peace, peace in this world, and peace in the hearts of every person on this earth. So please come. Peace.
Light